Hi, this is Emma from the Port Environment Centre. We enjoy chatting to people here about waste and recycling and answering people's questions. So at the moment the centre unfortunately is closed to the public, hopefully only temporarily, and so we thought we'd make some short videos to answer some of the common questions instead. Today I wanted to talk to you about soft plastics in terms of recycling. So hopefully you've heard of the program called REDcycle, and that's a specific collection program for soft plastics. What's soft plastics? So basically you have two kind of main types of plastics in terms of our common items. The first one is something like this. That's kind of more a rigid plastic. So it's an object that holds its shape. You can give it a bit of a squeeze and it tends to bounce back in shape. Something like this is also an example of that. So these kind of things are perfect to recycle through your curbside recycling bin. The other common item we come up against is more along the lines of your plastic bag. So something like this we refer to as a soft plastic. It's really soft and scrunchy and it doesn't tend to hold its shape. If you scrunch it up, it'll stay scrunched up. So the problem with soft plastics, so plastic bags, and packets in particular, is if you put these in your curbside recycling bin, they cause all sorts of problems when they get upstream. So one of the ways materials are separated when they reach the materials recycling facility is according to their physical properties. So something like this plastic bag is all light and floaty, and so it tends to float along like it's a piece of paper. And suddenly you've filled up all of your paper recycling stream with plastic bags. So that's why we really don't want soft plastics in our curbside recycling bins. But they are able to be recycled, most commonly through a program called REDcycle. So these are the collection bins you often see at supermarkets. And I'm going to show you a few examples of the kind of things you can collect up at home and drop off at a REDcycle collection point. So if we have a look here, we've got this really nice display wall all about REDcycle soft plastics recycling. So the first thing I'd suggest you do, if this is new to you, is have a look online at the REDcycle website. So they have, if you just type in red as in the colour RED and cycle, you'll come up with the REDcycle website, and they outline really clearly what can and can't go into the REDcycle collection points. You can also put in your postcode and it will show you all of the collection points near you. So the most simple way to think about the difference between a hard plastic, which goes in your curbside council recycling bin, and a soft plastic is to do the scrunch test. So if it's a soft plastic and can be scrunched into a ball, then you can collect it up and take it to a REDcycle drop-off bin. If it's not plastic, or if it's a plastic that can't be scrunched into a ball, so more like a milk bottle or a biscuit tray or a strawberry punnet, they should go into your council recycling bins. They've also got a really good list of exactly what they do want to accept and what they don't want to accept. So I'm going to show you a few of the common things, but it's worth having a look at their website. So if you have a look here, all of these chocolate wrappers, ice cream wrappers, lolly wrappers, biscuit wrappers, wraps and bread bags, these are all perfect to collect and take to your REDcycle drop-off point. These are more examples of things that can go. So you've got a bag from rice, a crumpet wrapper, a little produce bag, even these orange mesh bags, or your cat or dog food. So all of those are exactly what you want to collect and take to your local REDcycle drop-off point. Sometimes people get a bit confused by things like this that have a foil lining inside. They're still a soft plastic. So all of those things are perfect to collect and take to your REDcycle drop-off point. A few other things that people get tricked with. Things like bubble wrap is actually fine to take as well. The trick with this is you want to cut it into smaller pieces. So if you've got a big sheet of bubble wrap or a big sheet of plastic, you want to cut them into A3 size or smaller before you put them in. Things like a cat food or a dog food bag, make sure you give it a rinse so it's pretty clean first, and you also want to make sure it's nice and dry before it goes. So how we manage this in our house is we keep a spare plastic bag, and we just shove any of our soft plastics inside. And when that bag's full, I kind of save them up and then I drop them off at my nearest supermarket drop-off point. The drop-off points are normally out the front, so you don't even have to go inside or be shopping at that supermarket to be able to access the REDcycle collection point. There are a few things they don't want you to put in, and I'll show you a couple examples of those. So unfortunately, cling wrap, glad wrap is not accepted in REDcycle, and that needs to go into your landfill bin. Similarly, any plastic that says on it degradable, biodegradable, compostable, they're all things you don't want to put into your REDcycle. So unfortunately, anything that says it's degradable or biodegradable, these just break up into little bits of plastic, and unfortunately they need to go in your landfill bin. If you come across anything that says it's compostable, they can go into your green waste bin. Now, just one little thing before I finish with this is to let you know that recycling information does vary depending on where you live. So what I've talked about at the moment is really specific to those living in Adelaide. However, REDcycle program does operate across Australia. So for up-to-date and accurate recycling information, the best thing you can do is to check out your local council website. Or if you live in South Australia, there's also a really good website called Which Bin, which lets you put in, if you just Google Which Bin, it lets you put in your postcode and then it gives you local specific recycling information, and you can search by object and it will tell you which bin. So for these soft plastics, once again, it's REDcycle, and I encourage you to check out their website. Now, unfortunately, if all of us were to do a fantastic job of collecting up our soft plastics, I think you'd find the supermarkets would be drowning in this stuff. And unfortunately, recycling's a really good place to start, but it's a terrible place to finish. So if you want to do your best you can for the environment, I really encourage you to start at the start with reducing. Reduce, reduce, reduce. So have a look at what you are collecting in your soft plastics, and then think about which of those items aren't essential and which of those things you could slowly cut back on or maybe save for a special treat only. Well, thank you. That's our first go at a little video here at Port Environment Centre. Feel free to send through any comments or questions, and then we can respond to those in the future.